Germantown football going all the way.
Hey there, GHS, and welcome to the very first Red Devil post-game show. I'm your host, Kaif Gilani. This show will take you through game highlights, player and coach interviews, and things to look for in the coming weeks. Germantown's first game of the season came against an extremely experienced Millington Central team. 2 years ago, Germantown knocked Millington out of the second round of the playoffs. That year, Eldon Times was the starting quarterback of the Trojans as a freshman. Now a junior, it would seem that he wanted some vengeance. You could tell that throughout the game, the Trojans were hungry for a win. In fact, Coach Michael of MCHS said that he was extremely optimistic for this game to kick off the season. In fact, that's probably what led to the 28-0 victory. Game analyst Maclean has the story.
Coming into this opening game, both sides had an optimistic mindset, and the final score would be anyone's guess. In the first quarter, the game opened to a relatively slow pace. It was obvious that both sides had some preseason jitters, but once those wore off, Millington took off to the races. With an early fumble, Germantown gave up a promising run, and the Trojans took it to their advantage. A few plays later, the Millington QB, Eldon Times, was running into the end zone to give the Trojans a 7-0 lead. Going into the second quarter, it was clear that Millington was in control of this game. That point became more evident when Millington return man Tate Thomas juked his way to a huge punt return, reaching the score to 14-0. But the Devils were not going to give up without a fight. Towards the end of the first half, the Devils seemed to wake up when Germantown's quarterback, Rodney Williams, seemed to change the momentum of the game with an amazing interception catch. When the Devils offense couldn't convert, though, on fourth down, they went to the locker rooms losing 14-0. In the third quarter, Millington showed that they were not going to stop pushing their high-powered spread offense to the limit. Millington's offensive star, Taylor, had already had an impressive first half and continued out with a strong third quarter. Late in the fourth quarter, the Trojans added 2 impressive touchdown runs to put away the Germantown Red Devils in this opening game.
Now we're here with Maclean, who was there for the Germantown-Millington game. Hey, Maclean.
Hey.
So, there was a lot of talk before the game about, how Coach Michael, coach of Millington, how excited he was and, about this game. What was that all about?
Well, the bottom line for Coach Chris when he was coming in to play this first game is obviously he is very optimistic about this game, and his team is hungry to play Germantown.
Right.
And I guess it really boils down to 2 things. A, playing experience. He has a veteran team, but he has a lot of new players on that team also. He wants those new players to get as much experience as those veteran players have had.
Yeah.
And B, it's that depth of his bench, and that also just ties back into A.
Yeah.
I mean, with freshmen and sophomores coming in, you never know what's going to happen.
Right. So, it's obvious that the coaches are going to look at the next few games with a different mindset. Reporter Damaris Diaz spoke to Coach White about what the team will work on moving forward.
Thanks, Kaif. I'm here with Coach White. So, Coach White, we had a hard loss against Millington, but what do you think they brought to the field that we just didn't do as well?
Well, I think they physically got after us early in the game and stayed after us, and I didn't think we were very physical with them.
Do you think it was Millington bringing the trouble to our team, or our team just not playing up to its potential?
Well, I think we can play a lot better. We move the football on them, and then we end up stopping ourselves. But defensively, I thought we'd play better tonight.
It was a hard loss against Millington, but what positives did you see with the team tonight?
Well, there are some kids that played well, and, just with a little work, I think we can get better.
Thank you, Coach White. Back to you, Kaif.
I can't wait to see what Coach White has in mind for next week.
He's a great coach, and I have no doubt that he'll lead this team going into next week.
Definitely. And, in each game, there's always one player that stands out in terms of effort and his stats on the board. Reporter Kaylin Coulter caught up with linebacker Jonah Ligon for his thoughts on tonight's game.
Thanks, Kaif. I'm Kaylin Coulter. I'm here with middle linebacker Jonah Ligon, number 37. So, Jonah, what are your thoughts on tonight's game?
We got to get better. We made a lot of mistakes, and we really just beat ourselves. We got to get out there and do better next time. And work on just the little things. Get better at those.
So it's your senior season, and I know it was a tough loss tonight. But what were the silver linings for Germantown in tonight's game?
We actually played pretty well on defense and moved the ball well. We just couldn't convert on our opportunities. We just got to get better doing that. When we see something, we got to take it.
And next week, you're playing Christian Brothers. What strategies as a team do you need to work on to improve to beat Christian Brothers?
We need to be able to control the ball on offense. The offense can move it, but they're giving it up at times they shouldn't be. So we just need to be able to control the ball, and we'll control the game.
Thank you. Back to you, Kaif.
Jonah Ligon, great guy, great player. He has such a good mindset.
And I think his mindset is the real reason why he's the defensive captain of this team.
Definitely, great player. So here's some updates from our area. Houston beat Cordova by 1 touchdown, while South Panola smacked the Spartans by a score of 62-27. Southwind lost to East by 27, and Wooddale took a slim 2-point loss to Bartlett. Now let's look at the 15 AAA standings. GHS, Kirby, Southwind, and Wooddale all started off 0-1, while Ridgeway, Collierville, and Houston started off 1-0. We'll now look at a report done by Will Alton and Sean Byrne on a Germantown teacher who uses his math skills to become involved with the football games. Check it out.
For the past 7 years, Philip Carter has been sharing his love of numbers with Germantown High School students.
I teach math, algebra, geometry, and bridge math.
Coach Carter not only uses his math expertise in the classroom, he also uses them to record the statistics on the football field for the Germantown High School football team.
The second year I was here, Coach Andy White came up to me and said they needed some help with the statistics, and I said sure, and ever since then, I've been the guy.
Coach Carter keeps offensive stats for both teams and tracks the Red Devil defense. He also calls the numbers into local media.
It's really just keeping up with the numbers. How many catches, how many yards the total catches, how many yards per catch, how many runs. It's just really straight raw numbers.
From his perch in the press box, Coach Carter has seen some impressive performances. One he'll always remember is from just a few years ago.
Sir Gregory Thornton, he had over 456 yards in one game. It was an amazing game. Every time he laid hands on the ball, he was gone. And I'll never forget that game. It was just incredible.
Here's hoping to more memorable Red Devil moments this year. For GHS-TV, I'm William Alton.
It's great to see a teacher who loves his school showing his support by volunteering his time.
And it's great to see that he's spending his Friday night supporting the Red Devils.
Exactly. Games against Christian Brothers High School have always been huge at GHS. And next Friday, the Red Devils will take on CBHS in the first away game of the season. One of the players to look out for on the Purple Wave is Austin Lee, the running back for CBHS. Last year, he had a 70-yard run against MUS, and the team will be looking at him for many more big opportunities this year. CBHS did lose their first game of the season, however, and this would be a great time to take away their momentum. Come out and support your Red Devils this Friday. Thanks for tuning in. This is something new that we're doing at GHS-TV, and we hope to bring a lot more sports coverage to you this season. Not just football, but also basketball and other sports. This has been the Red Devil Postgame Show. I'm your host, Kaif Gilani, and we'll see you next time.